Always stumble. Hey, we are live. Yes, we are. Hey, Sonia, how are you? Wait, you guys, wait for it, wait for it. I have something new for you.
Why
Oops.
did yours not come up on me?
Hey, welcome, you guys. Yes, I have music for you. Hey, Tommy. Look, there's Dr. Cindy Brown. So this is the Beyond Awesome show in pursuit of health, happiness, and inspiration. And now I'm going to turn the music down since I don't have my mixer board. I used to do radio. It's hard with one little thing. So let's get this off here. Oops. Let me turn that around. Let me turn. How you guys doing today? Let me turn all this stuff off. Hey, my name is Lynnie Wennerstrom, creator of CrazyAwesomeHealthyYou.com and the Beyond Awesome show. I'm trying to turn this music off now. There. Oh yay! I didn't even get to let it go down. So we are here today. We're gonna be with Dr. Cindy Brown, and she is. If you're just joining Periscope, you don't even know who she is. But hey, yo, justice is up. What's up? So if you're just joining Periscope, then you wouldn't know who Dr. Cindy Brown is. But if you've been around, you probably know exactly who she is. So I'm going to read a little bit of her bio, and she's going to blow your mind because maybe you didn't even know what she was. I mean, I'm sure you know what she's all about from her scopes, but check this out. I love her bio. She has a company, personal and professional transformation and excellence, dedicated to that. She's a behavior specialist, communication and relationship expert. She holds a doctorate in clinical psychology, a master's degree in counseling psychology, and she's licensed in the state of California as a psychotherapist. MFT. She has only had a wait. Let's see. She not only has had a successful private practice in LA for many years. She also speaks, coaches, and trains clients at organizations, conferences, on the phone, and via social media. Social media, Periscope, anybody? And the web. She trains them from all over the web, from all over the United States, as well as internationally. I know, Justin, it is impressive. I mean, I was reading this, I was like, whoa, look at this lady. Now, check this part out. I'm not quite finished here. Almost. Dr. Brown, only almost because it's Periscope. So, Dr. Brown is also the best-selling author of the award-winning book, The Cinderella System, contributing author of Power and Soul, and creator of 2 best-selling audios and workbooks. A combination of charisma and expertise. She does have charisma, you have to admit that. Charisma and expertise has made Dr. Cindy Brown a sought-after expert, coach, speaker on many radio and television programs, speaking on such issues as stress and time management, behavior modification, productivity, addictions, anxiety, communication strategies, relationships, and intimacy issues. When she is not seeing private clients or speaking at organizations and association conferences around the world. This is the coolest part of all. Dr. Cindy, because you know I am a common sense health expert, so I was like, yes, you go, girly. So when she's not doing all those things where she's really busy and making lots of money and helping lots and lots of people, then she tries to keep in tip-top shape. So she does rollerblading, hiking, weight training, and running on the beach in Los Angeles. She's also dedicated to serving her community and frequently participates in supporting local charities and organizations in need. She is dedicated to and passionate about transformation. She believes her purpose on this earth is to help people understand themselves and others better so they can live a healthier, happier quality of life. Maylin! Maylin. So, oh my gosh, you made it. Yes, you did. And you're tweeting. I have to turn off my Twitter thing because you're tweeting. Let me turn this off. Doo-doo-doo. So very excited to have Dr. Cindy on here. She's so amazing. I mean, if you've seen her scopes are fun. They're enlightening. They're entertaining. They're helpful. Oh no, Maylin, it's fine. I mean, that's what Periscoping is all about. And it's just fun. So thank you guys for joining. We are going to talk about Periscope addiction, social media addiction, and just basically everything that is what we are living today in a social media world and how it affects our health. And so we're going to ask Dr. Cindy a lot of questions about that. So what's good brosive? What is that? Oh, I don't know. They're talking about something else. So let's, first of all, I just have to say something really fun and personal about Dr. Cindy. Right now, before we went on, she she had to go feed her squirrel. It was the funniest
Hey,
thing.
you're not supposed to talk about that.
Tell us about your squirrel real quick.
Well, I live in not a nature preserve, but I live in a part of Los Angeles where we do have a lot of nature life. We have raccoons and possums and squirrels, but I definitely have made friends with the squirrels, and they like me because I give them beautiful nuts, unsalted nuts. They like the sunflower seeds the best. I get them without the shell, and they just, I don't know, I just have an affinity. My late father had a lot of interactions with nature, with bunnies and squirrels, and I think I take after that. It makes me feel close to his spirit.
Wow, but that was so funny because she said, wait a minute, I can't go on yet. I have to go feed my squirrel. He's trained. He's trained.
Yeah, he's going to run up and down my screen, so I thought I better feed him.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. So, do you draw on personal experience in helping others, Dr. Cynthia? I mean, how did you find that this was your passion, and how do you use it from your own personal experience to help others?
Well, actually, when I was a teenager, about 13, my mom thought I should go to therapy because I was having some challenges with my father. So, you're growing, you're going through different changes, and, it wasn't working.
Hey, girl.
And it was actually the best thing that ever happened to me because I did have a safe place to be able to talk about some different things. I had just moved from the Bay Area down to Malibu, and it was a really trying time for me, and I was actually being bullied and had a lot of, you think that when you move to a new school, but I moved from one area to the other, and it was quite traumatizing. So I was able to talk with a therapist, and then later in life, I thought, you know what, that was such a great experience for me. I thought, I'd like to help other, families and teenagers, and so I started off actually working with kids and families, and then moved more into working with more individuals and adults. But my mother was actually a prescription drug addict, and you wouldn't notice it from the outside, but her behaviors were that, and that affected our relationship. So I'm also a specialist in addictions because I grew up around it. I've also been challenged by it myself, and I think that whenever you have a personal experience with something, it gives you a lot of wisdom because you've been through a lot.
Oh, it does. It does. I speak from personal experience too. Wow.
So, I wanted to go into something that I knew that I had a lot of knowledge in, personal experience, and I really enjoy helping people. I know my purpose on this earth is to help people and share whatever experience I have from a first-hand experience, not just from, my book knowledge.
Right, and you do. I mean, your scopes. Again, I implore everybody.
I like to give content, but I also like to have fun. Sometimes I'm not all so serious. Sometimes I'm, rocking out to some music or something, but, most of the time I like to give good content.
Yeah, no, I mean, what I was going to say is I implore people that if they are not following you, any of my followers or anybody that's new on this scope, seriously, you would really, really benefit from watching Dr. Cindy Brown's scopes, because she gives quality information. Hey, Amy, and just really wants to help, and she'll sit there forever and ever until you get your question answered. It's like, well, just tell me more. So it's really cool. So Periscope is a different animal than a lot of the social medias out there. How do you feel that it is affecting our health, for one? I mean, not just, you can talk mental, but physical health too.
Well, interesting, because I've only been on it probably a month now, maybe a little bit over the month, and so I'll use myself as an example because I'm pretty aware of my behavior, what I'm doing. So I'll say that my personal experience first, and then I'll kind of talk about psychologically how I think it's affecting us. But in my personal experience, I was amazed at how addicting it was so quickly.
Yes.
And the number one reason is you're being recognized. Well, once you get on it and kind of interact with people and get to know people, but you start belonging to a group. You start becoming part of a community if you do interact, if you get on there and make comments. And so there's an addictive quality to belonging and being recognized, where you don't have that so much on Facebook because it's not immediate. When you walk into the room, you're being seen, you're being recognized, and the scopers that are doing a great job as far as touching on the psychological part of it are getting close to people and getting them to feel that they belong to a group. We'll give Justice Bowens as an example. You know, he was one of the first scopes that he and Mark Kay and some other people that I got on. I really felt part of a group. I was doing Scope Mob in the morning with Mark, and which I love. I was, talking with Alex Kong, which I love. He's awesome. And there was a few people that I jumped on in the beginning, and I really felt part of this group. And then when I started interacting not only with the person that was broadcasting, which felt good, then I would, carry it on Instagram or Twitter, and they were interacting with me. I'm like, this is really interesting. I've never had this kind of interaction on Facebook or any other platform. And with Justice, we all became friends, and then I met some of these people in person. I mean, I went to several meetups already, and I have got to know the nicest, most supportive people that I have in, I think, in LA since I've been here.
Yeah.
So as a short period of time, connecting with community. So that's one aspect. I mean, that's my personal aspect of the psychological of being part of something, belonging, being recognized and seen. And when you jump on somebody's scope and you're immediately recognized,
right.
People like that.
Yes.
People like that feeling. Like when you walk into a store and people know your name, unless they're harassing you to buy things.
Right.
Otherwise, hey, Cindy, it's nice to see you again.
It's like going into a party where everybody knows you and you're like the star of the volleyball team or you're a big part. That is the kind of feeling I think that you're talking about, and that's how I feel with it.
Yes.
And
and that really, it really helps that part of us that maybe feels isolated or alone or doesn't belong or doesn't feel important or not good enough, which a lot of people, have challenges with.
Right.
So my personal experience of the addictive quality is that for me. I like interacting. I like to be seen. I like to have, connections with people that aren't just flat. We get to see somebody, we get to interact, we get to see their words, we get to see their voice, we get to see their surroundings. I mean, where do you get that? You don't get that on Facebook.
In the house.
You get to see what, is behind the curtain, You
get
to see
I know.
what's going on.
Well, and then also the part, where you make friends fast. And so the meetup you were talking to, like Tracy, Kathy Hackle and Jason Stoughton and Mia Voss, and there were a lot of people at the meetup in Denver, like within weeks of it starting up, and these are relationships that continue. And I know you've made friends with Justice and others like that at the meetup. And it's I think that when I don't know, that quality of Periscope for me is is a whole new animal, and I'm not sure because you were talking about the addictive part of that, and it's touching those pieces of you, but it just feels like a community.
I mean, it was interesting when I had only been on a couple weeks, and I went to the first Perry meetup that we had in LA was, on the Bluffs. That was great. I saw some great people. I met Jay and Minnie Jen, and
that was awesome.
Star. That was awesome. And then I went to Amanda's, and it was interesting. I walked in, and immediately Amanda said to me, "Oh my God, Dr. Cindy Brown!"
Yeah.
It was great. She recognized me, came over, hugged me.
Amanda Oleander.
Helping her set up her art show, and that was an awesome event. And then, Tasman walked in. I had been interacting with her, and Tasman's like, "Oh my God, Dr. Cindy Brown!"
Yeah.
And it was just so interesting. I mean, those guys have probably a lot more influence than I do.
I'm sorry,
as far
Jones
as,
Lady.
The amount of people they have on their scopes, but they recognize to me because I had been interacting with them, because I've been asking questions, and that's a fun thing. And immediately we hugged, and I hugged all these people that I had just met through social media, but it felt like we were already friends.
Oh,
and again, that touches off a part in our brain in the pleasure center when we connect with someone we feel we have a similar or shared experience with, and that actually releases oxytocin when we connect in person. So we're getting these feel-good feelings of it lighting up in our brain, and then when we get to see them in real life, that's what's so exciting about the meetups. And we're having another one in LA this Sunday down at LA Live, and it's going to be great. If you guys want to.
So it's freezing real quick there. So are you back? It was freezing for a second.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. So go ahead and announce that one again if you'd like.
Okay, so we're having a meetup. If you want to have this experience, this live experience of meeting people like me that you're interacting with right now, or other people, we're having a meetup down in downtown Los Angeles this Sunday. I think that's August 2nd, and that will be at in front of the Nokia sign. You can RSVP at thenicolelopez.com, thenicolelopez.com, and you can get all the information there. It'll be at 7 p.m. on Sunday, this coming Sunday. And we have tons of giveaways. I'm giving away a copy of my book.
Whoa.
This book. And I'm giving away some of these books, which are all about entrepreneurs.
Nice.
T-shirts we're giving away. I think Swagbot is giving away T-shirts, and another Clearside is giving away, tripods for your phone, all kinds of fun things.
Wow.
And we're going to have Pass the Cast, so we're going to have all different people scoping. It's going to be a great event.
That's awesome. No, that's a lot of fun. Anna just said she's leaving on Saturday, so she's not going to be able to be there. So she was just saying, I'm leaving on Saturday. Wanted to make sure she can.
I know the Perry Girls are having a meetup, but if you're part of Perry Girls, I know they're having a meetup on Saturday night downtown LA. So there's lots of stuff happening this week.
Yeah.
A lot of things. People want to get together. They want to have that second level experience. Periscope.
You're welcome, Anna.
One platform. They want to have the second level. They want the oxytocin, the feel-good part of it.
I love oxytocin. That is one of my most favorite hormones ever. So that love and connection.
People, if you don't understand what oxytocin is, also released with breastfeeding and through intercourse and orgasm. So just thought I'd throw
It is the love hormone.
Yeah, the love hormone. It's called the bonding hormone. You can also get it through petting, dogs and cats and animals.
Yeah, and you can get it from the smell of like a childhood memory, and
exactly.
Yeah, it's an amazing chemical.
It's a good hormone. It's better than an antidepressant.
Exactly, it is. It is an antidepressant.
Exactly.
So I wanted to ask you. We were talking about Periscope addiction, and how do you see personal relationships? This is I didn't know whether Kathy Hackle, because Kathy Hackle, and for those of you who don't know, Kathy Hackle has her show is called Scope News, and it's on Sunday nights at 9:45. That's Eastern, 9:45. It really starts at 10, but she does like a pre-show 9:45 on Sundays. And she interviewed. This was just last Sunday, weren't you? Just on her show last Sunday, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I didn't hear that part. And I was really interested, but how do you see personal relationships changing due to scoping, like marriage, divorces, you know what I mean?
The bad and the ugly.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Well, I think that, like anything, I had mentioned earlier on my scope that there's a difference between an addiction and a habit. Now, the term addiction actually is derived from a Latin term meaning enslaved or bound to.
Well, interesting.
So an addiction becomes an addiction when you're craving something intensely, you have some loss of control, you continue the involvement in it despite its negative consequences. It's a pattern of behavior that may have negative consequences. Otherwise, it's a habit, okay? So, maybe more people have this as a habit than addiction. But once it becomes something where you're not doing your responsibilities, you've committed to something, you've committed to say, picking up your wife somewhere for dinner or something, and you're on Periscope and you're watching somebody you're addicting to, and you lose track of time and you forget to pick her up, and she gets mad, and and she asks you, who were you? Were you on Periscope again?
Yeah.
So it can affect that. It can affect that we talk about this FOMO, fear of missing out. There are some people. I definitely am. Have FOMO sometimes. I really like to see Justice's scopes, and he scopes early in the morning when I'm not usually up because I'm a late night person. But then I jump on him on later and catch the replay. But I don't get to interact with any of my friends on the scope because I've become a member there, and I like to interact with my friends on there, like Stasi and Coco, and some other people on there, Danny Beck and Minnie Jen and my friends. So it becomes this feeling of I'm missing out on something. Now, if I'm then with my partner and I'm thinking about, well, I'd rather be on scope because this guy is boring or something, that could be a problem. So just like anything, when we crave it or when we are interacting and we're, quote, not getting that dopamine, because one of the neurotransmitters that's released when we, interact with people in a certain way is dopamine. So, if our relationship somehow is not stimulating us, then, Periscope can be our new thing. That's better than our partner. So it can affect our relationships in a lot of different ways. Now, on the positive, it could bring people together. Maybe they could watch one of my scopes together, and we could be talking about communication or worry or anxiety, and they could be sitting together watching it and learning and growing from it. So that could be a positive. There are some, young people on here like, who's that guy, Maddox, Maddix, I forget his first name. Anyway, he's a 13-year-old. He's awesome. I was watching him every day.
yes.
What's his name? I forget his first name.
Shoot.
Somebody will know.
Yeah.
I forget his first name, but he's awesome, and I'm getting all these. I would love to watch him. And so, maybe my partner and I watch him because he's so motivating and it helps us. So, I think there's good and challenging aspects of any medium, and you have to make sure you set boundaries around your relationship of, having away screen time so you're not on the screen. I talk to couples about setting boundaries around social media and phone use. I think that there should be some no phone zones or no social media time where you're really interacting in person, because that's good for your relationship.
Is that Maddox? It's Maddox, right? Somebody was asking.
IX.
Oh, it's IX. Okay.
Maddix is his last name, and I don't know. I can't remember his first name right now.
Yeah, I thought it was Alex, but I think I'm saying the wrong. There's so many people.
It's not.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't remember myself. I mean, I've only seen him a couple times. So
yeah, he's 13. He's awesome.
I know, and he always says, "I'm 13." It's like,
yeah.
Yes, you are, and you're awesome.
I know I'm following him. If somebody looks on my followers list, they could see. He's probably at the top of the list because I just followed him probably a few days ago or a week ago.
So so Dr. Cindy, this is Dr. Cindy Brown. My name is Lynnie Wennerstrom, and this is the Beyond Awesome show that you're watching on Periscope only. Very, very cool, very exciting. It's Monday through Friday. And so let's get back to Dr. Cindy. We're talking about relationships. We're talking about addictions on Periscope. We're talking about social media and how all of this, how it all works into your life and your health and your inspiration, as it will be. And speaking of inspiration, so tell us if you have any questions. What would you like to have answered? Thank you for doing that, Dr. Cindy. That's awesome. What are some ways, like you were talking about bullying before, and I've heard of just a couple of instances of bullying on Periscope, but nothing.
It's happening a lot, and every time I see it, I was watching my friend Chris. His name is Beats. Oh my God, I'm forgetting everybody's handles right now. His name is Chris. And I was watching, he was getting all kinds of racial bullying, and it just hurts my soul and my heart when I see that. He handled it so well. He's like, hey, you guys want to hate, whatever, go do it. He handled it so well, and he's only 20-something years old. I met him the other night. Great kid. He dances. He does all kinds of great things, and it was awful, these people. I blocked every single one of them because they were saying awful things. So no, I see it happening pretty much every single scope I'm on, whether it's a racial thing. Another friend of mine on Periscope told me she got some racial things last week, and also people with their weight or, the open boobs thing that, women are constantly harassed by.
Yeah.
And,
Welcome,
how do you handle bullies? And I think this is important because I'm actually working on a project right now around this and helping people gain self-confidence and self-esteem around how to handle bullying. And the best thing, I believe, is to ignore them, not to bait, and I just ignore the comments usually. And if I ignore them and then they go away, fine. A lot of times that happens on my scopes. If they keep going and it's really disrespectful, I'll definitely block them in the moment. I don't give them any attention. I just block them.
Right.
I had one guy come on one day and say some sexual remark to me. He said, we were talking about sex, actually, that one. But he said, have you ever sucked a Turkish dick or something like that? I'm going to say it out loud because the only way I can explain it. And I actually wanted to, answer it. And I said, no, but have you? And he was a male. And it was interesting. He went, LOL. And then he actually started talking to me like, well, actually, we're not really, supposed to talk about sex. In Muslim countries, we're not supposed to. And he actually started interacting with me. So that was an interaction. I actually answered the question. Now, if he continued to be rude or disrespectful, I would have blocked him. But I wanted to see, just by answering his question,
right,
in just a straightforward way, how he would be. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes it's better. If I don't have the time, I just ignore. If it keeps happening, then I just block. I don't give them a lot of attention unless it's a direct question. Sometimes I'll answer.
Yeah, I was there on that scope. And I thought you did.
Yes.
I thought you did an amazing job. I was amazed you didn't block him in the first place, and I was impressed with the way you handled it. But you are trained. You know what I mean? So you have the training. You have a PhD. You have a doctorate. I mean, you have a lot of training that goes behind that. So you could kind of balance that. For others who, for the rest of us who are not trained in that. So your suggestion then is block right away if it hurts
If you don't feel comfortable, it's better not to interact and just ignore first, because otherwise you may be blocking a lot. Ignore first. If they go away, then that's great. They go away. They haven't gotten any attention. Remember, because the draw for them to troll or spam or whatever is that they get attention. And these individuals, most likely, if I analyze them from just this behavior, would be they've gotten attention for negative behavior. So they get off on it. They get off on it. So some people, we get stimulated by positive attention.
Yes.
There are a lot of people in the world that get off on negative attention. And, because of some type of childhood interaction pattern, that's what's happened. So, again, we don't want to give them that because then they get addicted to it and they'll stay on your scope because they want to do that. They want to get attention not only from you, but from everybody in the broadcast.
I find that
huge.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I never really thought about that, but that is true. I mean, I grew up in there's 7 of us children, and there was you could always see that the ones who did things negatively, to get negative, even if it was negative attention, just to get attention, to stand out among the brood, of all of us. So that's normally it was the boys or me.
So I would say the biggest thing is to ignore. If they don't go away, then block them. I mean, that's the easiest way. You don't even have to say, call attention to them. You can just do it silently and, boom, it happens.
Yeah.
And, the group members see it happening.
Yes.
So, they end up blocking too. You don't even need to say, oh, block that person, because I think that gives them attention. I just think they see it. It comes up on the screen when you block somebody, so everybody knows.
Yeah.
And, they can go block them. Sometimes I go back and watch the replays, and I block people if I didn't get them the first time.
Yes.
I go back.
Me too.
I go back and watch. And
I
block them. So.
I saw one that just really. I mean, I seriously wanted to just get into that scope and find that person, but I mean, it was an overweight woman, and she was scoping, and they just kept on and on saying stuff, and I was like, blah. You could see every time a comment came up, her face would change a little bit, and I was just like, I just, that was probably like the biggest one, and the first one that was just, besides the open boobs and bobs and all that, which whatever, but that one just, it was just so crushing to me, and I couldn't believe it, and I was like, do something, and finally I did.
We can support each other. We can support each other, but when you see that, just block them yourself on your end, because when we're on scope and a certain amount of people block, it does alert people at Periscope to do something about it. So the more we can support our fellow Periscopers and block those people that we see trolling, the better.
That's a really good tip. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I had no idea, so I'm gonna need to let my followers know that. That's really good. So, how often? I mean, now we talked about a habit and what is a habit and what is what was the other habit and then addiction. An addiction.
The difference between addiction and a habit. So
right. So
it really is the level of interaction, what you're foregoing, and how it's affecting your life. So most people, it's probably more at habit stage.
Right.
But again, if it's become more of an addiction where you're intensely craving, you're thinking about it all the time, you're not doing the things you need to do, and getting on Periscope instead, or it's altering your life in some way. Do some simple things where you. I teach people about time management and planning. So definitely plan certain times in your schedule where you can and when you can't, and also use a timer. Sometimes I get on broadcast and I think I'm only going to go on 20 minutes, but if I don't have a clock in front of me, I lose track of time. So I make it a point to put a clock where I can see it, and be able to limit my time, because it's very addicting. It's cool to, especially if you're bored or, you're lonely. People stay on it for hours and hours.
I know
broadcasters that get addicted to it. There's some people on there, I swear to God, they're on there 15 times a day.
Yeah, I know.
I'm thinking,
if they're not scoping, if they're not scoping, they're interacting.
Watching scopes.
They're watching scopes. Yeah.
So, there's a couple different levels. There's the broadcaster that's getting addicted to being on in the attention. There's the people that are jumping on and wanting to interact in the scope. I have a lot of my Justice League people, we all interact. If we get on somebody's scope, we're all interacting.
Yeah.
We're not so much even interacting with the broadcasters, we're interacting with each other, asking questions, having a whole dialogue. So, that's a part of it. I have FOMO this week because I haven't been jumping on people's scopes. I've been so busy. But, and then you have, users, you have broadcasters, and then you have the audience, and, all of that is part of the addiction.
Yeah,
it is. It's really interesting. So setting the timer, watching the clock, planning it into your schedule, and being disciplined, just like anything.
Yes.
If you're addicted to it, if you find yourself going, no, I'm not going to do the dishes. No, I'm not going to go on a date tonight because I'm going to watch, somebody on Periscope. So.
And the house is getting dirtier and dirtier.
Exactly.
I know, because I went through that little phase myself and had to. And
you know what? Sometimes I do. If I do need to do the dishes or do something, I'll just put it next to me. Like a lot of times when I'm getting ready to go to work, I'll have it right next to me while I'm putting my makeup on or doing something. So I try to multitask.
Oh yeah. So if there for any of you guys watching this, if you have any questions for Dr. Cindy Brown, who I'm interviewing now on the Beyond Awesome show, please throw up your questions. Whoever is throwing up those hearts, if you have a question about the social media addiction, Periscope addiction, your relationships, anything that has to do with your health and anything digital, throw them up there in relationships, marriages, divorce, any of those things. So, Dr. Cindy, what do you think? Oh, you want to follow her. Hi, Julie. Yes, follow her. Yes, she's amazing. So it's at Dr. Cindy Brown. Dr. And it's in my title. So
DrCindy.
yeah.
BROWN.
And we should put your books up again so people can see your books. Because the Cinderella story looks awesome.
It's the Cinderella System: 7 Steps to Attract the Man and Relationship of Your Dreams.
I love
it's
that.
actually a really great book in that it has journaling exercises and
nice.
ability for you to look at what you've done in the past, what you're doing now, how that's affecting you. But I've had other people that are actually in relationships do the book as well, because it's just a great way of, kind of looking at what you're doing. You can get that at my website at thecinderellasystem.com, thecinderellasystembook.com. And then here's another one. I'm going to be giving some away at the Needs Friday, or this Sunday, I'm sorry. This was Power and Soul. This is also on my website.
42 Successful.
I just have a chapter in this book. This is one of the first writing things I did, actually.
Oh, that's nice. So you're being asked if you have a show on Periscope, and I know she scopes almost every night.
Yeah, I usually do it every night. Sometimes I do it at this time, but usually once to twice. Sometimes I'm on at midnight because I'm a late nighter, but it just depends, how the work day is. But usually it's around 8:30, somewhere 7:30.
Oh, somebody got your Facing Love Addiction book. So.
Oh, that's not my book, but that is a book that I recommended to some people that were talking about love addiction.
Oh, okay.
But that's by Pia Melody. That's an awesome book. I recommend that to people if you're in a love-addicted relationship or you're finding you're self-addicted.
She said where and when. She's giving the books away on Saturday night at a
Sunday.
Or Sunday night. Are you going to do the Saturday too? For the Perry girls?
Yeah, I may do that as well.
Are you addicted? Are you addicted, Dr. Cindy?
I am addicted. I'm addicted to connecting with people and having powerful connection. That's what I am.
Oh, I know. That's so cool. Okay. So that's in LA. And where, Stephanie wants to know when and where. So we know Saturday and Sunday night, but where?
Sunday night is in downtown LA. You can find out the information at thenicolelopez.com. And you click on the events link there, and you can find out all the information. You can RSVP there. And that's 7 p.m. this Sunday, August 2nd.
No, it's not on Periscope. It's physically.
Well, I'll be Periscoping from it. So if you can't go live, you can
hook up
on Periscope.
Exactly. Okay, so I want to talk about where do you see. Now we're talking about Periscope, but where do you see Periscope going for socially for business? Like how can has your business changed in any way? Has your business increased?
Absolutely. I'm definitely having a lot more interaction, a lot more phone calls, people telling me they saw me on Periscope and, they liked the things I said. So I think the interesting thing, I heard the other day that there's 7 million users right now. Like in one day or one week we got a certain amount. I can't quote the exact time. I think it was 7 million. That's a lot.
Yes.
I don't think it was that a month ago. But so I see more and more people getting on it, more and more people using it for different avenues. And I think as far as my own business, I definitely feel that it's helped people test drive me. They can see how I interact with people, real people. They can see how I answer questions. And it's different than just watching my YouTube channel or, watching a snippet on my website or on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have samples there of me. I have a blog, I have all that stuff, but here I am real time right now interacting. It wasn't a YouTube video I made last year or, somebody that edited me so I look perfect.
Right.
I'm in real time. People are being able to interact and ask questions and get a sense of how I be, and people have told me that. They've called me afterwards and said, hey, I liked the way you interact, and so I am getting calls, I am getting a lot of interaction as far as wanting people to speak and talk on certain things. It's a good medium for me. Not everybody is good at this medium. You have to be able to interact and do a couple of different things at once, and be personable and be camera ready, and that is a certain personality. Some people don't like to be on camera. Sometimes people don't like to be seen that intimately. They may be fine in the office with you one-on-one, but they don't want to. They're afraid of, not being perfect.
Right.
And I've done a lot of coaching sessions on self-esteem and self-confidence around, how to prepare yourself, how to handle the voices in your head that are telling you you're not good enough, or, I don't want to get on Periscope. There's other doctors on there. There are other therapists, and there's other coaches, or there's other motivational speakers. So I have this thing about non-competing. I don't compete with people because I believe there's a niche just for Dr. Cindy Brown, right?
Right.
I think that I'm going to fit in my tribe, my feeling. I call them Peri positive people, the PPPs. That's my new tribe, the PPPs.
I like it.
Peri positive people are going to follow me because they want my content. They want, and so I don't need to compete with other people.
Right.
I can watch other people. I like to watch certain positive people on Periscope, but I don't need to compete. And so I tell people to stop that, listening to that chatter in the head that I'm not, I don't look as good as that person, or I'm not as young as that person, and that person has more hearts than me, or she has more followers than me, so I'm not going to get on.
Right.
Just get on because you want to, share what you have to offer, and you want to connect with people, and your tribe will follow you. Your tribe will give you feedback. You will enjoy the process because you're sharing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Oh, Julie says, great philosophy on that. Doo-doo-doo! Very exciting. Hey, Key Shabas. Welcome, welcome. Maybe that was bad ours. I don't know. So, do you have anything else that you'd like to... How you doing, girlie? Do you want to... does anybody have any questions for Dr. Cindy Brown? Make sure that you follow her. It's at Dr. Cindy Brown. And it's in the title of this scope. Make sure you follow her because this is just... this is like a teeny bit of the value that I personally have received and seen that she offers on her scopes. There is really nothing off limits. If you were listening earlier, she even talked about other things. So there is absolutely...
I do after dark. Sometimes I do sex and relationship and intimacy and things like that. We talked about, I think one of my biggest attended ones the other day was about worry, how to handle worry. I did another one on self-confidence. We talk about, relationships, all different. Somebody was asking me about, BDSM the other day.
Oh, goodness.
All different kinds of different practices. So, it depends. I usually try to grab a theme from the day working with clients or, something that I had worked with. Like even yesterday I had some
It's a
frustration.
good one, Julie.
Even me had frustration. And so I was talking about, how to change the channel from frustration to excitement and anticipation and possibilities, because sometimes we can get stuck. I mean, yesterday was just one of those days. I'm so glad we didn't do this yesterday, but I had no Wi-Fi. My regular cell phone coverage is terrible at my home because it just is a bad cell area.
Yeah.
And I had like 3G. I couldn't do anything.
Oh, gosh.
It was just one of those days that you just realize how much you depend on good internet service.
I know. Robert C. Stern just went through that a little bit ago, and he was the same thing. Our lives can kind of his definitely revolves around it. We had a question about swearing on Periscope. Julie Wickstrom asked, what's your opinion on it?
It's important to realize that there are people watching us, and not only are just your followers watching you, there's kids watching, and there's people scouting. There's a lot of people on Periscope scouting right now. So if you do want to monetize your scope, and you want brands to come after you, unless you're Kevin Hart, where he can get away with it, and that's, part of his thing, I still think he swears way too much. I follow him on Instagram. I mean, he's hilarious. But to me, every time he says the F word, I kind of like, ugh.
Yeah.
And so we're all role models. We are being seen. We are being scouted because anybody can pop on your scope. So, you just have to ask yourself, how do you want to be seen? Is swearing something that you want to be known as? I was in a relationship once, and I have tended to use the F word sometimes for pronunciation, for punctuation.
Yes.
And I remember remember this guy telling me, Cindy, I don't really like when I hear you swear. It gives me this feeling, I forget what he actually said. And I actually took his feedback and thought, yeah, I don't need to do that. There's certain of my friends maybe we can joke and do that with. But in general, I don't know if definitely in my professional life, I want that out there in that way.
Right.
So, I think we need to think about that as far as, how we portray it,
Yeah, it's interesting because I hear several people, you hear it all over the board, and that was really, I'm so glad that Julie asked that question, because in some Facebook groups there were, in these, a couple of mastermind groups that I belong to, the discussion has come up a lot about, you should just, even on Facebook, like just to, in a webinar or on Facebook, to use not just the F word, but any, just cuss. And the consensus in some of them was, be yourself, be authentic. If that's what you do and you swear you're Kevin Hart or you're something like that, then do it. If that appeals to your tribe, if that's who you are, then to do it. I'm with you. I think that that the language to me can be really beautiful, and you can take it and do different things with it. And it's really up to you how you have to decide, how do I want to be perceived, but forever, because these things are forever. What we're saying right now can be shown 10, 15, 20 years from now and say, well, look what you said then, and
yeah, it goes away after 24 hours on Periscope, but it doesn't go away. So you have Catch Me, or people are capturing it. I'm like, I sometimes film my Periscopes after I do them on the replay. Other people can do that.
Yes.
But some people maybe, taking snippets of yours and putting them somewhere. So,
you have no idea.
Have to think about what we're portraying and how we're being perceived, definitely.
Exactly. So does anybody have any other questions before we end this scope? And if not, Dr. Cindy Brown, do you have any last some advice for anybody who's starting to scope? I mean, I think we've kind of covered a lot, but we've had some new people enter, some people leave, and did you have any last minute just advice for people who are just starting to scope, and maybe some do's and don'ts socially?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's various aspects of it. I think when I first got on, I mean, I've had experience speaking and doing things for a long time, and so there was a certain comfortability, but definitely I had the voices in my head saying, oh, you looked awful.
Thanks,
there,
Mike.
or you did this, or you did that, and so I think you have to be gentle with yourself, and before you get on, as far as being a broadcaster, and test out certain things if you want. Sometimes I look at my photo camera before to see how I look in that lighting or whatever.
Right.
Test things out.
Yes.
See how you look with different colors and different backgrounds, whatever. I mean, if that's your thing. And I think plan out what you're going to say. Justice and I were talking about this the other day, that, he plans a certain amount of his talk, maybe 3 tips or 1 tip, or sometimes I write things.
I agree,
Dip. At the wall, there's some things on the wall right here you don't see, but, some things for me to think about to trigger my memories. Sometimes I do that, put something on the wall so I can see.
You mean for your scope, like your points, to stay on point during a scope. Okay, yes, perfect.
If I could show you, there's some,
you had to pick them.
So I have some little notes there that kind of trigger my memory of certain things. It just helps me stay on point, and I try to have a time frame. So again, quieting the voices, your head, being gentle, but also I studied a lot of people on Scope before I got on. Like, I was popping in Scopes, I was taking notes of different people, I was watching people like Alex Kahn and Alex Pettit, and listening to the tips and doing certain things and trying out different time periods. If you're just a user, as far as setting a time limit and planning it in your day so it doesn't overrun you. Staying safe as far as turning off the location if you're at your home, being careful what you're showing around your personal space in case somebody can find out where you are or where you live, or
outside
where
your
you're
home.
Scoping from. You got to think about that as far as your own safety. Not giving out too many details personally. That would be common sense.
Yes.
But again, I think the most important thing is that you have conversations with yourself if you're feeling, you're comparing and competing, quiet down that ego. Your ego is not your amigo, as my friend Deb says.
I know, I say that. It's not.
I like that.
Me too.
So yeah, I mean, that is some of the things we can do to keep ourselves happy on Periscope. And I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Definitely follow me on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Google+, Dr. Cindy Brown is all my handle there. If you want my book, it's at thecinderellasystembook.com. I also have a lot of resources there, and on therealintimacy.com I have tons of resources for couples. I think I have some audio and video on there, free resources. But definitely connect, and if you see me in Los Angeles, I'm going to be at New York Scope Week as well. I'm trying to get on one of the panels, so hopefully that will happen. And I may be doing a workshop there as well. So if you guys see me there, definitely come up and say hi, and let's get some oxytocin going.
Absolutely.
Some hugs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, perfect then. We'll hold on for me for a minute while I just say thank you very mucho for tuning in to the Beyond Awesome Show. My name is Lynnie Wennerstrom, creator of CrazyAwesomeHealthU.com and the Beyond Awesome Show, the only show that I know of Monday through Friday on Periscope. I look like a little old lady in my hair. I'm going to change this. I'm going to go like this. It's live. Uh-oh, I think I should have left it up. Anyway, so you guys, thank you. Really appreciate it. And thank you, Anna, for asking your questions. All of you, thank you for your questions. And catch the replay. Please let your friends know about this. Want to blow up this show and follow the people on the show, because you're so welcome. You're so welcome. And follow Dr. Cindy Brown, because she's one of the reasons I wanted her on my show is because it's all about the pursuit of health, happiness, and inspiration. And she's always an inspiration, and she always seems to be happy. So how could you get those things wrong? Plus, she adds value like crazy. So anyway, thank you guys. Have a fantabulous day, and we'll chat later for the call to hydrate in a little bit, right? 3 calls to hydrate I do every single day. We'll see you later. Don't worry, be happy. There she goes. She's still here. Ciao.